I'm Arthur Moats, and I'm here to tell you about my new book, The Moats Theory of Life. If you haven't picked up a copy yet, I strongly encourage you to. This book not only is a fun read, but it's a guide to helping you become a person of impact and inspiration. If you are ready to take the next step to improving not only your life, but those around you as well, go get a copy of The Moats Theory of Life, and it's available at moatstheory.com. What's up? It's the Arthur Moats Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
What's up, dude?
Man, we feeling real 6-0-ish. You know how we vibe out over here, man. Just good day, man. Good day, great weekend. I'm just enjoying life right now, man. What about you, man?
It was good. I'll take the win, man.
Absolutely.
A lot of people were talking about heart attacks. Well, hold on. Actually, I wanted to ask you this because we've talked about this situation in the podcast previously about late game situations and feeling nerves, butterflies in your stomach. You just don't want to. You don't know what it is. You said you're ice cold in those situations.
Absolutely.
How did you feel yesterday?
Exact same.
No way.
I swear. Exact same way. In fact, I was a little more upset, though, that it was a missed field goal and not like a big defensive stop. I was waiting on that TJ or that Bud strip sack walk off. Like, that's what I kept thinking the whole time watching. I'm like, somebody's going to make a play. And when they tried Joe Hayden in the end zone, I said, oh, I was mad. I told wife, I said, babe, they really tried my dog Joe like that. You don't just take a shot at Joe like at the end zone. Like, that's crazy. But for me, man, I just get hyped in those moments, man. I just look at it as an opportunity to solidify a legacy or to add to a legacy. You don't get those type of reputations if you don't have big plays in those type of moments. It's kind of like performing in the playoffs or performing in a primetime game versus a 1 o'clock game. You can do you could ball out at 1 o'clock. Sometimes it doesn't get noticed the same. Whereas, I mean, think about that Steelers Titans game yesterday versus last night, the Seahawks and Cardinals game. Like, it just had more allure to it because it was in prime time. You can't get those type of big moments without it being close like this sometimes. And I think that played into it, man. When you get that type of, man, they battling back and forth. The comeback is coming down to this drive. Oh, interception. All right, can they get a stop? Are they going to kick the field goal? They pulled up Tannehill's game-winning drive stats. I mean, all the narratives, everything you want is there. That, to me, is like the most exciting part about playing, because that's when you, like I said, get to really show who you are. You get to build that legacy. You make a play in that moment, man, you live forever. Whereas you can make a play earlier in the game and no one really talks about it because the stakes weren't as high. So that's why for me, man, I never waver, and I'm just like, yes, let's go. One score.
Like, I was nervous about the long bomb. I was when he tried Joe Hayden. I was nervous. I mean, I felt it. But yeah, that's
jump man.
Yeah, we pulled it out, man. We pulled it out.
Absolutely. And something that we're going to do a little bit different this week. We introduced a new little thing over the weekend, man. A little reaction to the game. Shout out to everybody that tuned in for that. Holy cow. But great job. And in fact, what we decided to do was,
a lot of people liked your hat, dude.
Yeah, that's it.
Were you wearing that the whole game? I
was. and I actually have been wearing it since we took our vacation right before the season started. I bought that hat because I always like to have like a legit vacation hat, whether it's a bucket hat, obviously that big straw hat. And I was like, you know what, man? From here on out, when it's games, I'm going to put this hat on.
Wait, hold on. Yeah. Am I hearing this right? You've worn that hat every game thus far?
Yeah. And it's fun.
All right. Just add it to the list here. We got that.
You're funny, man.
We got the hat. We got the beard. We got 2713.
That's what it is.
We got a concoction building here with the podcast, dude.
So just throw the hat all in that beard.
It's in, dude. You're in it.
I'm not in it.
You're in it.
No, I'm not in it. Don't lock me into that, man.
You're in it, dude.
Don't lock me into that, man. I don't want to do that.
The hat, 6-0.
Nah, man.
You got to keep it going. That's all.
I don't know about none of that, man. I don't know about all that.
Listen, whether you believe in it or not, just say you're having fun then. How about that?
I'm always having fun. Yeah,
because you know how I spin it. I'm just having fun with the beer. But see, I'm not really superstitious.
You're trying to avoid the superstition that you know is superstition by just saying, "Oh, we're just having a little fun." For me, I'm just like, bro, I like the hat. It's something about like it's my game day attire. I throw the hat on, I'm like, I'm ready to go, and then I have my accessories around me to keep my mind where it needs to be during the game.
Same accessories every time, or have you mixed it up?
Nah, I mixed them up.
All right, you mixed it up. So hat's the steady thing. We're good with that.
Yeah, I definitely. Well, the accessory is steady because the accessory is constantly there. So
it's constantly that. Well, that's fine too. Just constant.
It's always going to be an accessory. It's just I don't know which accessory it's going to be that week. That's all, man.
That's good with me, dude.
But what we were talking about, though, in terms of the reaction video, I had said to if you wanted any questions asked or any topics talked about as we react to the game, to make sure, you let us know. And man, shout out to y'all on YouTube. Y'all did a phenomenal job. Anybody that isn't following on the YouTube channel or subscribe to the YouTube channel, I definitely think you should check that out, because Deke does a phenomenal job of having the videos chopped up nicely. He's always cooking, man. He gets that thing rolling. Man. And a lot of the content we don't post on like Instagram and Twitter as much. We do a lot on YouTube though. So for everybody that's out there that's listening, I know we got podcast only subscribers, not YouTube channel subscribers. You definitely want to check that out. So with that being said, man,
I think even like if you like listening just audio, popping over to YouTube for engagement or comments.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Even if you just want to listen audio wise, if you just want to get some engagement though, pop over to YouTube.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So it's good little pick by you right there, man. But with that being said, man, there were a ton of questions, a ton of comments, and I held true to my word. I said I give you till noon today to get your questions in. So from there, I had my cutoff. So now I'm going to just dive through a couple of these questions that we wanted to answer. So this first one is from Matthew, I believe it's Cowdery. I think that's how you say it, right? Cowdery, Cowdery. And he says, why does it seem like over the past decades, we've always had these games where we dominate a game and then let a team come back in the second half? Is it just us, or is this all across the NFL? Maybe I'm spoiled from all these great defenses and Jerome Bettis closing out games for us.
Wow.
Does got a point there, man. Does got a point. I think for me, I guess the biggest reason why you see some of the comebacks is because at the NFL level, we harp on this all the time and just talk about the talent, right? We say each team has players that could start on either side, all pros, pro bowlers, every team, even the worst team in the league. We talked about how the Jets were terrible even last year, but yet they still had Jamal Adams. They still had CJ Mosley. They still had Le'Veon Bell. Even Sam Darnold, who isn't an absolute disaster quarterback, he still can play and start for teams. Like, he's good enough in that regard. And that's ultimately why you really don't see a lot of blowouts. You really don't see a lot of, this team jumped out to a big lead early and they just stone the rest of the game. It's just hard to do that against quality opponents. And I think a lot of times, just as fans of sports or fans of football, we watch high school football, or some of us played it. We watch college football, some of us played it. And ultimately, you think about in high school and college, you'll see blowouts, right? It's nothing to see Alabama beat a team 50-3 or put 70 on the team. But typically, because the talent difference is so great at that level, you get that. Even at the high school level, you look at a high school that's a powerhouse versus one where they barely have enough to put a roster out there, and you could just see the difference. It doesn't matter how good that other team plays. They just don't have the personnel to match up. At the NFL level, that's never going to be the case. You're always going to walk into a stadium where, hey, it's about 50-50 in terms of who has the better guys, or you might have the better offensive guys. They got the better defensive guys and things on that nature. So ultimately, that's why I think you see so many tight games, or so many games where a team might jump out to a lead early on. But once you make the adjustments, these professional players, man, these guys were the best at what they do. That's why they typically find ways to adjust to it and come back.
I think part of it has to do with the team that's down. You got nothing to lose too. I mean, we saw it with the Cowboys and the Browns, Cowboys and Falcons coming back. You're just going all out. Whereas the team with the lead, and I'm trying to think if I could feel that in our game. You're just trying to run out the clock, be more conservative with it. So that I could see that type of stuff happening. And then we've talked about details and just how one play or one little thing can change momentum or change things. I mean, I think coming out in the second half, we drove the ball down the field. We got a field goal right off the bat, so we were looking good there. And you could correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they get that A.J. Brown touchdown after that?
Yeah, so literally in the second half, it was 5 possessions, 1 field goal, 2 picks, 2 punts. Then you look at the Titans, 5 possessions in the second half, 2 touchdowns, 1 punt. They had 2 field goals. Made one, obviously they missed the last one. Just that right there, when we're talking about the 2 turnovers, right? That's a difference in terms of how a team can come back. And that gives you a bad feeling in terms of they only scored 27 points, 2 turns second half. You think the offense wasn't moving. Let's be real, the offense was moving the ball in the second half. They just didn't operate with the details that you needed. And turnovers do kill drives, as we saw, not only in the second half, but even that last possession of the first half. I mean, when you are in the red zone or you're in areas where you're supposed to score points and you don't, that does give teams life. That does give teams the ability to have a little bit of momentum. Then you throw in a splash play by AJ Brown by the Titans, and now you're sitting here like, well, dang, that lead that we had, oh man, it's kind of tight now. It wasn't that the Steelers took their foot off the gas, because that does happen in some scenarios, but yesterday that wasn't the case.
And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It didn't necessarily feel that way yesterday. I think you brought up all those good points. We were like, what was it, 13 for 18 on third down conversions. We were moving the ball. Even rewatching it today, like we got a couple first downs here and there, and we're able to control the clock, control the game. But it was just one or two things here or there, like. You're just like, damn, like I can't believe, like I feel like we're dominating this game. We're the much better team.
But that's another reason why when you talk about, and Coach Thomas spoke on this as well, the turnover margin, right? When you're -1, -2, -3 in the turnover battle, typically you lose those games because, I mean, it's just hard when you're giving another team so many possessions and you're not getting the possessions. But in this scenario, man, it worked out for us. Obviously, the missed field goal played a big part in that. And sometimes it's better to be lucky than good in those scenarios, man. But ultimately, man, the turnovers, you can't have those in. And if you score on one of those drives, that changes everything in this game. And I don't think it comes down to how it ends in terms of us all kind of be sitting here like, all right, is he going to make it? Is he going to miss it type scenario?
All right, we got next question here.
Yes, indeed. I know you ain't like that when we talk about the turnovers, baby. So we'll leave it alone. It's all good.
No. Hold on. I was gonna say I don't want to jump the gun here because I'm assuming one of these topics are here.
We'll get to it, man.
I'm ready for that.
We'll get to it. I know Deke, the excuse king, got us. Don't worry, man. And I can't wait to hear it. All right, so this next one is from Pat Troit Hatir Senior. I think it's like you say. It's like TRIOTHATE with an apostrophe over it with an R. All right. Hope I ain't butcher your name, Pat. All right. So it says, I'm happy, man. Hashtag Pittsburgh Steeler for life. My question is, which side of the ball in these past 2 weeks were you most happy with? Offense, defense, or special teams? Hashtag still couch. Let you go with this one first.
Wait, hold on. What was the question?
So throughout the past 2 weeks, which side of the ball, offense, defense, or special teams have you been the most happy with?
Man, dude, do you have this funneled in some type of way here? These questions.
What are you talking about?
I'm just curious.
I literally just grabbed these at random, bro.
Okay. I gotta think here. Hold on.
You really gotta think. We know what you finna say, right? Don't you always say it?
You go first, dude.
Go, man. I went first last time, man. You got it, bro.
What am I most impressed with? It's 2 weeks. He said the last 2 weeks.
Go ahead, man.
You just put me in a hole here. Come on, dude. Because I want to say offense, but if you're saying the past 2 weeks, come on, our defensive performance was really good against the Browns. How was it against the Titans, though? How would you grade it and everything? I mean, I don't like that AJ Brown. They did have a nice drive in the first half. They had another nice drive in the second half. I liked how the offense is rolling. I really do. That's a tough one. I think we're playing. You know what? Can I defer? Can I just say I like both?
I figured you would do that.
That's what I'm doing, because I do. I like both.
I you would say either offense or just you were going to leave it alone.
We're playing good team ball. I'm impressed with both, dude. I really am.
For me, man, this is simple. It's the defense. The defense obviously played lights out from start to finish against the Browns. Obviously, the Steelers' offense played really well as well. The biggest thing for me was the turnovers. When we talk about this game right here, however you want to slice it, 3 turnovers are 3 turnovers. I thought the defense as a whole, though, first half they did a really good job of minimizing Derrick Henry. A lot of that was due to them not having opportunities. Second half, they got hit with what we talked about, play action pass. That was the AJ Brown play. Obviously, you have a missed tackle up there, but it was off of the play action pass because they allowed a little bit more success on the ground. But in the end, they came with the stops that they needed to come up with. You talk about clutch performances, right? We talked about how a quarterback, for example, could have a terrible game if they come down in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left and score a game-winning touchdown or lead a game-winning drive that's a game-winning field goal. We're going to praise that quarterback. We're going to talk very highly of that quarterback. In this scenario, we got that. It was a turnover by the offense. Defense has to get a stop. Tennessee is moving the ball. We talked about the Titans. They talked about Tannehill fourth quarter comebacks and how many he has, which is a good amount of them. I didn't know it was that many. But once again, you saw the defense stand up. Not only did they not allow a touchdown that would have won the game, but they also, hey man, the kicker missed the field goal. Throw that on the defense as well. So when I look at that, I say that's a clutch performance, which you love. That's an factor performance, which you love. And we got to see that. So I thought, man, these past 2 weeks was definitely there.
I guess we could just toss special teams in there too. I mean, that was one of the part of the question. But like, dude,
special teams definitely played at a high level.
Maybe one of our guys on special teams got something in Gostkowski's ear and kind of threw him off a little bit.
Well, the thing is this: the reason why I throw a defense in for that, because field goal block is just defense. That's just starting defense out there. When we talk about like return, punt.
You're talking
punt return, kickoff. Yeah, that's gonna be Ray McLeod and the special teams unit. So that's the only reason why I threw the field goal team in there, because it's literally the exact same people that are on defense, man.
I'm good with them all, dude. I'm good with them all. I'm throwing in special teams to my answer. We're 6-0, dude.
We know.
I'm fine. I'm fine with it.
You are funny, bro.
I liked how both looked. I'm not lying. I really did.
It's all good. Trust me. I didn't expect anything less from you.
Okay.
I ain't expect anything less. When we text yesterday, I said, oh, all right, I already know what it is. I already got it. Don't worry about it. It is funny, too. I even looked at your comments on your page because you put full transparency, guys. So we talk about game balls each week. We shoot each other texts. We say these are the names, right?
We posted to Instagram. There's a 4 square post. You have 4 players. Absolutely. Like who gets the game ball.
So we typically always post the exact same players. Yesterday we had one person different. So we said these are going to be the 4 players. And Deke says, well, what about Ben? And I say, well, man, we're talking about game ball. We're talking about the person that mostly impacted the win. Said Ben had 3 turnovers, right, wrong, and different. However you want to slice it, still 3 turnovers. It honestly almost cost us the game, especially the last one. So we go on a post. Obviously, mine has, I think it's Boz. I think it was Boz, Juju, Deontay, and I don't know who was my defensive guy. I don't even remember right. TJ. And then you had the similar group, but you have Big Ben up there. So we're going through the comments. I'm like, all right, let me just see what Deke has over here. See a Deke section. Bro, why you got Ben up there, man? He had turnovers, bro. Ben almost cost us the game. Ben almost did this. And I'm just like, Deke's love affair, man. He couldn't help himself.
No, they're wrong.
Couldn't help himself.
They're wrong.
They're not wrong. They're not wrong.
Dude,
they
wrong.
are definitely not wrong.
No. Here's the thing. They're wrong, but there was a couple comments that were with me. There were. I not only on mine, but also across the interwebs.
All I'm saying is this: if the Steelers allow a touchdown to end that game, we are not having that same energy with Ben in that last interception. That's all I'm gonna say. Defense definitely bailed him out.
Other people aren't. Listen, dude. I mean, is there a question about it, or because I don't want to get into it? But
we're gonna get to it.
That's what I mean.
You're the one who keep bringing it up because you feel insecure about it. This is the second time you've done it already.
No way.
This is definitely the second time you've done it already.
It up. I swear to God, I didn't bring it up.
Don't do that because you already have, bro. You definitely have. It's cool though, bro.
No,
it's cool.
Third question.
All right. Scary. So this one is from, I like this one. Black Power here. All right. So it says, excellent team win. Hey, Moats, I would like to know why Ben didn't go for the open slant instead of the touchdown when Juju was double covered and ended up with the INT. Man, let's see. Man, I had to pray that we won and that I would give up some stuff for this win. So, wow. All right. Sometimes we do that. God, please, if we win this game, baby, I ain't gonna never curse again.
I wonder what it was.
Yeah, Black Power, tell us what you had to give up, man. Was it worth it? But in terms of, Ben going for the touchdown pass into double coverage to Juju instead of taking the open slant, I mean, it's one of those situations where if he makes that pass and it does score the touchdown, I mean, it effectively ends the game. We do know that. And we have seen times where he has made that pass. Not saying that it's right or wrong. We saw earlier the pass to Deontay. That could have been an interception as well. With those throws, they're 50-50. Do you want to see him take a safer throw in the red zone? Sure. But I'm not going to fault him for that. Obviously, the outcome wasn't what we wanted, but I still thought as a whole, I didn't have an issue with him taking the shot because he was trying to end the game. You're playing to win the game. But the turnover is still a turnover. It's still on him. But you play to win. You don't play to be conservative. And ultimately, man, you hear Coach Tomlin talk about this all the time. Gunfighters get shot. He's going to take some chances. You love it at times, and at times, and how you pull your hair out. But as long as the outcome is a win, that's all that matters. What you, man?
That's a fair answer, dude.
What you thought I was going to say? Well, when have I ever not spoken fairly about Ben or this team in general? It's always fair. Whether you want to hear it or not, it's always going to be fair.
Well, no, here's what I was going to say. I mean, it's very similar. It's like, you have a chance to end the game there. Right. He felt good about the matchup. Juju on a linebacker. And here's my thing. I mean, whatever. If you want to say that was a lesser decision, it wasn't the best decision there, whatever. But like, Ben is the type of guy. He's got confidence in himself. He's got that type of talent. He's got the pedigree throughout his career and everything. So I'm gonna trust him in those situations. And if he makes the catch, which it hit his hands, like it's like a threefold thing in my opinion.
Don't you try to put that on Juju?
I'm not putting it on Juju.
Don't do that.
I'm not.
Okay.
Because I think the linebacker made a good play on it. It did hit Juju in his hands. It was I consider it more or less unfortunate, like a fluky pick or whatever, something like that. Because I thought the ball was pretty much on the money. I listened to Ben in a post-game interview. He said if I would have thrown it like 6 inches higher, then that would have been perfect. But I mean, if you're only missing by 6 inches, then like I said, it hit him in the hands, man. Like I don't feel bad about that play at all, because here's the other thing too. And this was something that was brought up with the Manning brothers in the past. They said, I'm being serious. No, hear me out. One, we were going for the win there. But they've said whenever they're in like a late game situation, they would rather be down by 4 instead of 3.
Okay.
It goes back to what we were saying with being aggressive and everything. So you're playing for the win. You kind of go all out, as opposed to maybe if we were, we hit that pass and then they tackle us before we get the first down. We kick the field goal on 4th. We're up 6.
Makes it 6, yeah.
My point is maybe they're way more aggressive in their play calling, and then they don't just say, hey, we're in field goal range, let's just settle for here and try to take it to OT. Listen, you don't have to take it from me.
What?
Dude, Peyton Manning and Eli Manning have said that, so you don't have to take it from me.
So
Hall of Fame
do you
quarterbacks.
feel like Peyton and Eli are better quarterbacks than Ben?
No, but
all right, I was just
Hall of Fame quarterbacks, man.
All right. Oh, so now Eli's Hall of Fame.
I've said that before.
Oh no, okay.
I promise. I've said Hall of Fame. 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. They've said that. So I'd rather go for the win there as opposed to playing conservative, because I just think in the other case, if we do go conservative, drop it down and we kick the field goal and then they end up scoring the touchdown, then everyone's outraged. Oh man, why didn't we try to go for the first down?
No, if anything, I think people would bash the defense. If anything, that's what it'd been. Man, Ben gave you guys the lead. You had to protect for a touchdown. You allowed to score. That's
maybe they wouldn't have bashed Ben. They would have bashed maybe the play calling.
No, they definitely would have passed the defense, bro. Because this the thing.
I think it would have been both. It would have been like, why the hell did we throw it short here?
This is the thing, man. Between that throw and between the one before halftime, both of those throws you have to get points on, regardless if it's 7 points or it's a field goal. You have to leave with points in either of those scenarios. So I think that's why that argument or that I just don't really go with Manning and with either of the Mannings are saying. I think in a scenario where they're saying if they could pick which one they'd rather have, sure, you'd rather be, like you said, up, or you rather be down 3 or whatever, right?
No, they said rather be down 4 than 3.
Down 4 than 3 because
so you have to go
aggressive.
for the touchdown.
But that's never saying that, hey, if we got an opportunity to score in the red zone to extend our lead, we would rather just turn the ball over, because that's ultimately what happened. It is not that they went in here and was just like, man, you know what, we won't have to score points here. That's not the case. That's the only reason I'm saying, like, with you throwing that out there, I think that applies if you're just talking a perfect scenario. But if you ask either Eli or Peyton in the red zone, would you rather have 0 points or settle for a field goal? They're going to tell you, give us the field goal, because the turnover kills you.
Yeah, but let's say you have the matchup you want. You think you can make the throw for the win. I think they'd rather take that though.
No.
That was the outcome.
Right, but this is the thing. And this is the thing. You can take the chance. And we're not saying you can't live with the outcome, but living with it and still looking at it and holding yourself accountable are 2 totally different things. Sometimes people want to live with it, but they don't want to hold accountability for it. You right now are living with it, but not really taking accountability for the outcome of it.
For who though? I said it was for Ben. I said it was 3-4. I mean, he's taking accountability.
No, I'm talking about you though, not Ben. We're talking about you.
It was a fluky thing.
See the lack of accountability right there, man. Come on, bro.
I can do that. It's fine. But like I just feel like it was a good throw and it hit Juju in the hands, and the guy made a good play on the ball, and then it got tipped up. That's all. I mean, it's different than dude. It is. It's different than, all right, Ben tries to make an out pass. The dude takes it to the house for a pick 6, and it's like, all right, that was terrible. Okay. But like in this case, dude, I thought he made a good throw. The outcome is what it is. I live with that. I'm good with that. We went for the win, as opposed to just settling for the the dump off and then kicking the field goal, and then who knows what happens.
It's all good, man.
That's what I'm good with. Dude. I'm just telling you, man. I'm good with that. I am.
Like I said, keep seeking comfort. So this next one, no. Actually, this is the perfect one for you right here. No. You seeking comfort. You definitely are.
I swear to God,
because you are.
I swear, if we lost, I'd have the same energy. I promise, dude.
Okay.
I swear, dude.
All right, whatever you say, bro.
I swear.
Whatever you say. I love this next one, though.
All right.
This is from Cole Evans, and this one is directed to you.
Did he say Deke?
Will Deke finally accept my challenge for a boxing match? Lord, after this nonsense that we getting from Deke right here, I would love for him to accept that. Do you accept that match? Lord have mercy.
I can't fight anyone, dude. I see this
What
kid.
if you were fighting for Ben, though? What if you were fighting for Ben?
No, I'm not going to fight anyone. It's just not me. I'm not a fighter, dude. I've seen this kid commenting on... Have you seen him? He's commented on our YouTube.
That's the reason I put it. I was like, I don't know who he is. I just keep seeing him pop up.
I think he's commented on Twitter. I think he's even commented on my YouTube.
Serious?
I think he has.
Oh, wow.
You know, one of my little Madden vids or whatever. And I wanted to respond because I appreciate. I find it funny. He's saying this
I
stuff.
thought it was funny too, man.
But at the same time, I'm like, I mean, does he just want attention and then just take it off the rails? You know what I mean? Wherever it goes. So I'm actually glad you brought it up here so I could address it here. I appreciate the humor. I appreciate you. Hey, you could keep on commenting this thing. You could actually give yourself the win. I forfeit the fight.
Boom.
Give yourself the win.
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
I'm just not a fighter, man. I'm not a fighter, man.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm not a fighter either. So I'm glad to hear that. All right, this next one we have is from Eli Mullen. Says, what do you think about Big Ben's 3 interceptions? And I started to call Chase Claypool Channel 11. What do you think on that? So I figure...
I still like Mapletron a little bit better.
Okay.
To be honest with you. Channel 11's pretty good, though. Channel 11 is pretty good.
I like that. And it's different. I like the difference of it. And I feel like everyone has a Channel 11, right?
It has a C in it still. The 11, it flows. That's pretty good.
To it.
I like Mapletron though still, but if you're going for originality, because we've talked about Mapletron being a playoff Megatron. Although I did see someone in the comments, they said Air Canada playoff Air Jordan. So what can we do about that?
Well, like I said, I don't call Vince Air Canada. There's only one Air Jordan.
What do you got from VC?
No, I call him just Vinsanity.
Vinsanity.
Yeah,
all right, that's
Vinsanity,
good one.
man.
Or I think we were saying half man, half amazing.
Yeah, that one too. Yeah.
All right. I still like Mapletron.
Okay.
What do you still one way or another? What are you thinking?
I mean, Channel 11 is cool. I'm not really. I just feel like it's gonna happen, man.
You can't force it.
Yeah, don't force it. It's gonna happen though. But Channel 11 is nice though. I like that one. All right. And what was about the first part of that question, man?
The 3 picks.
Yeah.
You want to go first on that?
I know how much you know what I'm saying. I think I let you get it all off your chest. So that way I don't have to be interrupted when I speak on it.
I just it didn't really bother me that much because the one was tipped at the line of scrimmage. The other one was obviously tipped at the end of the game, the one to Juju. Mm-hmm. And then the first one was just a shot at right before halftime, try to get some points on the board. Now, it was interesting when you brought this up because I actually didn't think there was any shot we could get a field goal. That's why
we were already in field goal range.
Yeah, but we didn't have any timeouts.
Yeah, so you take a shot and that's fine, but you don't take the shot into double coverage like that. That wasn't a good throw.
Wait, what do you mean? You're just going to take a shot no matter what. They're playing that way.
No, but
they're playing some type of prevent or probably some type of sideline.
No, so all they were doing was a cover 6 because you couldn't play prevent because it was 30 yards and in where they were from. So you had to legit play on it. But the thing was, and they'll tell you this as quarterbacks, right? If the throw is in there, you throw it out the back of the end zone. At worst case, you get the field goal. So that's
we couldn't have kicked that though.
Yes, we could have.
No, that thing was so far. Dude.
No, before halftime.
I think we were at the 50.
Was not. No, no, we definitely weren't. Even after the penalty, we were still like the 40 tops.
No, we couldn't have kicked that, dude. Bro, okay. I promise.
All right.
I don't think we could have kicked it. That's why I didn't care about that one. But if you think we could have kicked it,
you
then
definitely could have kicked it. And at worst,
I didn't think we could.
You had to get 5 more yards. You throw an out route, bro. You don't throw that to the end zone for a pick, bro. You cannot throw that, man. Cannot.
I don't know, man. I didn't have a problem with it. I really didn't, just because I thought it was our attempt to try to get some points on the board there. Why not take the shot? I feel like, and I was even thinking this with the whole Juju play at the end of the game. Well, the second one, like I said, was just tipped at the line.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want to credit to that. That just feels fluky to me too. If you want to blame Ben, whatever. Right. I feel like that's a fluky play. But even the tipped one with Juju, or even the one before halftime, I just feel like if it was other quarterbacks around the league, if it's Rodgers or Brady or someone else, they take that shot. It's all right.
So literally, this last play was from the Tennessee 37-yard line.
The 37?
Yeah, it was from the 37. Initial was on the 32. We had the false start, and that pushed us back. So we were from the 37.
So that's what, a 55-yarder?
Tops. Yeah.
I don't know, dude. It was a shot to get 7. I'm good with that.
All right.
I truly am. I was truly fine with that. It's whatever. I feel like if that was Brady or Rodgers, they make that throw. It's like, they don't care about stats. They're trying to get more points on the board. In this case, I don't know. It just... What?
No, I'll let you go. Go ahead.
Well, and I was going to say the same thing about Juju even. Like, if Brady or Rodgers, someone else, national media makes that pass, it's like, oh, man, they made a good pass. They don't have any help or anything like that. In this case, it just always feels different with Ben, like the whole narrative and stuff. But that's my feeling. I didn't care about the picks, like I said. I thought he played a good game all around. I mean, you could argue that he forced a couple to Juju whenever that linebacker was on him there. There was another one that was tipped. But, dude, I thought he played an all-around pretty good game, dude. I'm not too concerned about the picks or just, like, the stats at the end of the game. I know what I saw. I saw him controlling the offense, and those things were kind of fluky in my opinion. So
fair enough. All right. So, are you finished? You got anything else?
I'm good, man. You could bring up whatever.
So,
man.
for me, man, I thought the 3 picks, I thought only one of them was probably not on him, and that would have been the one that was tipped at the line of scrimmage. He has had a couple of passes tipped throughout the season, but tips happen. That's fluky to me. In terms of the downfield interceptions, the Deontay Johnson, Deontay Johnson.
So you were more
upset
with those ones?
I never say upset, but it was on Ben. You can make better throws in those scenarios. Like I said, before halftime with 14 seconds on the clock, even if you're not comfortable with the 55-yarder, I'm sure Ben will tell you this, Randy Fichtner, Matt Canada, and Mike Tomlin. I can tell you personal experience after being in the league for that long. They're going to tell you, hey, man, if that's the case, take a 5-yard out. We're going to kick the field goal from 50, and we're living with that. You never want the turnover. And the difference between Rodgers and Brady in those scenarios is if it's a half, if it's zero time or not enough time to run 2 plays, right, and you're clearly not in field goal range, then it's acceptable to just throw the ball into the end zone a la Hail Mary style. That wasn't the scenario because you still had, just based on the clock alone, you had time to run 2 plays without a timeout in terms of attacking the sideline, which we've seen them do before.
So you really didn't think, or how do I want to phrase this? You think we could have got sidelined? Because I was assuming
without a doubt we could.
There's no shot we're getting sidelined. I thought they would let us just dump it off in the middle.
No, without a doubt
we didn't have any timeouts.
Without a doubt we could. And the thing was, even like I said, from a coverage standpoint, now they did essentially a 3-man rush, which you see when the field does get condensed, but not once were they playing a quote unquote, because we call it like fences, right? So you would make it where you cannot get out of bounds. You're playing heavy on that. That was not what they were doing there. They were playing to prevent a touchdown. But that's why I said if you were that where you just want to take a shot at the end zone, if it wasn't there, you just throw it out the back of the end zone, which he's done before as well. But like I said, that play right there and the Juju one, you have to have points, no way around it. So in terms of the interceptions, 2 of them were bad throws. Yes, in terms of if you have a guy open and you're throwing into double coverage or in the Juju scenario where 3 guys are around him, hindsight being 2020, you don't make that throw because it did cost you at least 6 points, and that would have definitely changed the outcome of this game if you get 6 points based on those 2 field goals in that scenario. Not saying that Ben had a terrible game, not saying that he had a bad game, but it's just saying that, hey, man, 3 picks are 3 picks, and especially when 2 of them are on you, that's an issue. Now, I don't think that this is going to be a reoccurring thing. I think that next week he bounces back with no issues, but 2 of those picks were definitely on Ben, and that was my biggest thing with that, man. But ultimately, I thought throughout the game, he controlled the offense. I thought he did a great job of moving the ball. We thought he would be able to move the ball because we said the Titans' defense wasn't playing good. We said that. We're not going to sit up here and crown their defense and crown their secondary, and all of a sudden, when we said for a fact their defense did not match up well with anybody on our offense, we felt that we should be able to move the ball, and they did. But you got to execute, and the turnovers were the biggest difference. And like I said, with 2 of those things, they were definitely on him. But overall, man, I thought he still played really good.
Good, man. Well, yeah. I'm actually interested that you brought up that the whole tip thing, because I don't think we've ever talked about like who's to blame for tip passes. Like, should the lineman be hitting the dude's arms down?
So
or
it's
what?
A mix, man. Honestly, it's times where when you're talking about slant passes, screen passes. And not just a longer development screen. I'm talking about like the wide receiver screens where it's like right now it's on the tackles to cut down the D ends, right, or the outside linebackers. But some of these passes were like Jeffrey Simmons were getting tips and stuff like that. That's just, man, a D lineman just kind of a lot of times it's more luck than anything. Even with JJ Watt, I remember we talked about JJ SWAT for a while, right? A lot of that, man, it just fluky in terms of if I throw this ball 20 times through here, right, 15 of them might get through. Or not even 15, 17 of them might get through, but then you got that 1 or 2 that gets tipped, and it
got
makes you
tipped
think.
Straight into the air for an easy pick.
Right, and now remember earlier in the game he had one tip where he went and actually like tried to bat it down as well. We saw that from Ben, and multiple quarterbacks have done that. We've seen it where it gets tipped and the offensive lineman catches it. It happens around the league. That's just one of those things. It's super fluky though. So that's why if it's tipped at a line of scrimmage, I'm not even concerned about that. We're talking about the down the field throws when they're getting tipped, but it's not just if it's single coverage and it gets tipped, that's no issue. The reason why you don't throw into double coverage or triple coverage is because when it gets tipped, is multiple people around that can make a play. We looked at some of them throws that Tannehill had. And how many guys
he should have had like 3 picks.
Where you saw where multiple guys were in the vicinity to make a play on it. That's the thing. Those are bad throws. You don't want to force throws like that.
Well, I was going to bring that up because I feel like in terms of decision making or just overall, like the stat line is going to show you differently, and it's going to say, "Oh, Tannehill had the better game." But I just didn't buy that. I feel like Tannehill's picks, they hit some of our dudes like square in the hands. Whereas with the Ben one, I get your perspective, and I appreciate you bringing it up for sure because you have the NFL player's perspective, and it's just some insight that I'm going to oversee. But like, dude, like his picks were tipped and shit. Like it's like not one of those things that. I don't know. I thought he had a good game, and I just didn't think those things should overshadow that. So,
all right. And are you ready for one more?
I'm trying to think if I have anything else with that.
I know you got you're defending the honor. I know you, man.
I'm good, dude.
You
good.
Sure?
I'm good.
You putting the sword away in your shield.
I am. Yeah.
You coming back down that tower where the princess is up there, just sitting with the 7 jersey. You done?
I just want to make sure I'm clear on it. I thought he had a good game, so
we know. I was gonna say I'm surprised you said good. This isn't a great performance because usually you say he had a great performance. Was this not great or was?
I don't know I don't know what to make of it. It's just.
I mean, we won
because
I executed. That wasn't great.
I go B plus. I'll go B plus.
What?
I'll go B plus.
Stop lying to yourself.
I was going between B and B plus, but I'm a little hyped up right now. I'm gonna go B plus.
He doesn't get an
A. Dude, what can you say, man? I don't know.
He can't get an A?
I'll go B plus.
Wow.
I'll go B plus. Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Played good.
Right.
Like I said, played good still. I thought he controlled the offense. Well, no. Yeah, here was the other thing I was thinking. With the, and you brought this up a little bit, he threw one to Ebron. It kind of got tipped too. I thought, I don't know, that might have been pass interference on the Tennessee guy. There was just some holding and stuff going on there. But then there was another one or two that I mentioned earlier. He kind of like forced the juju. But it looked like there was single coverage against the linebacker.
Yeah.
What do you think of those decisions? Because I wasn't against that at all.
If it's anything, single coverage is never an issue because even when it's incomplete, what does it do? It just falls harmlessly to the ground. The reason why when you're throwing into double coverage or triple coverage, you just have more bodies around that are in play to make something that could have been not bad turn into something negative. That's why we talk about not throwing into double coverage. That's why we talk about not throwing into triple coverage. It's not saying that you can't make the throws. It's not saying that if you throw it 10 times, you might make it 8 times. The problem is, though, it's still the probability, and more so the probability goes up that something negative is going to happen. So even though you might have got away with it, that doesn't mean that you should keep doing it. It's kind of like this person that robbed the bank, right? They got away with it. Man, it was great. Whoo, awesome. You probably shouldn't keep doing it because it's not going to end well. But hey, man, I'm going to do it again. Oh, I got away with it again. Oh, it's all right. Oh, we're going to do it again. And then that last time you get caught and now it's something big on you. That's what we're talking about in terms of some of those throws. It's like, it's not an issue of him completing them. Yes, he's good. I mean, because of how good he is, how skilled he is, he's going to be able to do certain things. But at the same time, the more you play with fire, you're going to get burnt. And we saw in this game where he did get burnt. Now, granted, like I said, defense were able to make a stop at the end. They missed the field goal. Great job by them and get out of there with the win. But ultimately, if you continue to do that, you're going to continue to have multiple interceptions. And then you go from being Big Ben to Jameis Winston. You know what I mean? We see with Jameis. Jameis can make throws. He does. But then you see he keeps playing with fire. And the difference is, at least with Ben knows, all right, I done got burnt a couple of times. Let me go on over here. James is like, I'm gonna just keep going over here. I'm gonna be all right. I made it before. I could do it again. And that's how you can get those gaudy interception numbers. So that's the biggest thing with that. That's my only feeling with that. If it's single coverage, man, I feel like you're open in the NFL. One-on-one is open. Especially when you look at Chase Claypool, James Washington, Deontay Johnson, and Juju Smith-Schuster. One-on-one is open. 2-on-1, 3-on-1, I ain't really feeling that. It's not.
Got you. I'm trying. Is there anything else? I'm not concerned. One, I'm not concerned about the picks in the game. Like it didn't really bother me, but I don't even think this is a thing going forward. You know what I mean?
No, I agree with you,
I think
man.
we'll be fine. Yeah, I think Ben's gonna keep playing good.
No doubt, man. And let's see, man. We'll give him one more. We'll give him one more.
What is it? Another Ben one?
No, just give him one more. Jeez, bro, you all right?
I thought we had a lot of questions.
We do. I didn't know how we were on time. I felt like, yeah. So we're about 40 minutes in. We was only on questions. That's what I was saying, man. You all right over here?
I just thought we were
about Ben. Lord have mercy. I mean, we could continue on this way and just kind of preview the game.
Honestly, I thought I was pretty calm with all that. I thought I stayed level headed.
It's cool, man.
I did. Dude. Well, no, we got these questions here, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know if we were doing the questions the whole time.
Initially I was going to do it the whole time, or not the whole time. I was going to do all the ones I had listed. But then when I'm looking, I'm like, man, it's almost 40 minutes in. Do we really want to dive more so into just focus on offense, focus on defense? Because with some of these, I mean, obviously it's like very specific.
I got some hot topics too.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So look, we'll do 2 more of these fan questions, and after that we'll transition. Okay. All right. So this one right here, I like this one from Cameron Clark. How do you feel about the platoon of Spillane and Gilbert? And this is Robert Spillane and Ulysses Gilbert III. Personally, I like the way they used Gilbert on possession downs. Anyways, thanks for the content and keep up the great work. Also, what was your reaction to the Robert Spillane versus Derrick Henry goal line hit?
Okay. Yeah. Dude, you want to go first? Defense, your specialty. I think I've been going first these last couple of times.
It's all right. I like when you go first. Go ahead, man.
Man. They look good, dude. Whenever I watch the game again, they did split the linebacker dudes between those two a fair amount. I guess I didn't really realize how much Gilbert was on the field. You didn't hear their name in terms of coverage at all, and then you saw Spillane make some tackles. I saw him. There's a couple times he'd get off the tackle and was wrapped up Derrick Henry after maybe he got 3-4 yards behind the line. And then obviously the big hit on the goal line. I was thinking, my main thing was like, yo, that's a good hit. This is how I react, especially like I'm by myself. I'm just like, nice hit, man. And then I was concerned about his health because he was walking off. I initially thought it was a concussion. I'm like, man.
Oh, okay.
Like that would be a bad concussion. But then it was his shoulder. I think he ended up coming back in the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of my reaction. Because what was that hit? And then it was 4th down after that, correct? And then they went for it, the whole Minka holding.
Right.
And that was kind of my reaction. I was like, good hit. And I thought they played well, dude. I mean, I think that's going to be a legitimate conversation. I'm sure we'll bring it up in the hot topics. But like, do we need a linebacker? I mean, they look good, man. Gilbert, you didn't hear his name at all in terms of coverage, and I thought Spillane, he made some tackles. He made some nice plays. There was never a point where you thought, oh, wow, we're getting burned with these two out there. That was my take.
Yeah, so for me, man, number one, the goal line hit by Spillane on Derrick Henry, it was electric. I loved it. I know you super just, it was a good hit. If that was Ben throwing a touchdown, heck yeah, that's 7. That's what you do.
I do immediately go to the highlight reels. I try to screen record them and throw them up on my Twitter. Like last week I was on one because they were talking about the deep passes and thing. So I got one of those highlights where he pump faked. I'm like, said it in one of those voices where you put the uppercase and lowercase. Big Ben doesn't throw deep balls. How's this for a deep ball or something like that? How's this for accurate? So yeah, I was on one last week with those, but yeah,
we know. If it comes to Ben, we know it, Deke. All right, but man, the Spillane hit I thought was huge because number one, from a fundamental standpoint, his alignment was perfect, man. In terms of lining up a lot deeper on goal line situations, I definitely probably going to break that play down when we do the film sessions later on. But it was textbook in terms of what you're looking for from that middle hitter on goal line defense. And again, it's Derrick Henry, who we know is a grown man. Also, man, TJ Watt did a phenomenal job getting in on that as well, take a little bit of that steam off. But I thought as a whole, man, Robert Spillane and Ulysses Gilbert both did great. Gilbert, like I said, they initially started using him solely on possession down. So anytime it was 2nd and long or 3rd and long, he was the guy coming out there because obviously he has a lot more range from a coverage standpoint. He did really well, and I thought his drops were good. And it was Spillane, man. I thought Spillane, man, number one, was super physical in the run game. Once again, using his hands to come off block. Some of the things you talked about in terms of him coming off and making a 3-yard tackle on Derrick Henry, which is huge because that 3-yard tackle, typically when you miss that tackle right there, those are the 60-yarders and the 70-yarders when he gets into the secondary. I thought he did a great job. Vince Williams was another guy who did really good in that department in terms of just making those almost, I call them touchdown saving tackles because we know when he gets to the secondary, man, it gets gory sometimes, man. But I thought, both of those dudes, though, man, they played really, really good. Both of them had great confidence out there. I saw Gilbert, because obviously he wasn't talked about as much leading into the game because obviously Spillane dominated the headlines in that regard. But I thought that Gilbert did a good job with some of his pre-snap movements, man, knowing where his coverage was, but still being able to show, blitzes and stuff like that pre-snap and knowing that he has to drop to the third or knowing he has to drop to this hook over here. I thought that he did great in all of those aspects. And ultimately why I thought the defense really didn't miss a beat. The defense looked good throughout the game, man. I thought as a whole, they did really good stopping the run and minimizing the pass for the majority of the time.
Nah, for sure.
Yeah, man.
That's a good question.
Yeah, it definitely was. Now, this last one, this was a kind of funny one right here. It's from 21 Project. 21 Project. 21.
It's
21.
funny.
21. It's kind of funny to me. Can you and Deke talk about how y'all met and how your chemistry works? I love y'all perspective. Yours being more football educated, Deke being more gut based. To me, they both have value. Keep it up, though.
Dude, honestly, before I answer this, I'm looking back on what I said to you like 10 minutes ago. I was like, I appreciate you bringing that up. I appreciate your perspective, dude. Like I'm the godsend of the NFL knowledge. But how do we meet?
Yeah, just how we meet and our chemistry. How does it work, man?
Yeah, all right. I got
make it good too, man. Don't come up here and give us this weak, extra watered down, lame sauce story, man. You better make sure that thing sound right, man. Give it to him, man. Talk to him, man.
Really?
All right. You want me to tell him or you want?
Well, no. Well, because from my perspective, I probably got before we met, I probably got a story that goes a couple weeks or a month before us actually meeting that leads up to.
Talking about that strip club we were at, right? No. Oh, the other story. All right, my bad. You never know. Deke said he loved the wings. Lou Will was there with some crazy nonsense going on. He was getting in a fight. Couple bartenders. It kind of got reckless. He ain't had a beard. Then he had long hair. And then from there, man, it was like, yo, you record? He's like, yeah. He was like, do you record? And I was like, yeah.
Well, no, that was interesting because we didn't even know each other at that point.
Yeah,
but then,
man,
we linked up a month later. Because I can't even remember. Like, it was just crazy. Yeah. We mentioned something about I did podcasts. You were trying to get into it a little bit, and I hit you up. I don't know why I didn't hit you up earlier, but I was just like, dude, this might be a good idea. Maybe there's something to this.
Oh, that story's terrible. He's trash. Come on, man. You got to give me a better story than that, baby.
No, you want? I mean, the real story.
Give him the story, man.
Are you being serious here?
Give him the story.
All right.
Or you want me to give him the story?
I could give my my side.
We were in Vegas. It was the Mayweather fight. Mayweather McGregor. Everybody knows that fight was a pretty big fight, right?
That's why I don't fight anymore.
Yeah, we were standing at the Bellagio. Some things got said, making some bets. Somebody socked him. I socked somebody, and then before we know, we had this big brawl. We ended up running out of there, but we made it, man. We even. It was nuts, man. It was nuts. I think I saw what was the dude's name, man? Tyson. Yeah, Tyson was even running through there. Not big Tyson, little Tyson. Not Fury, the other one, Mike. Yeah, he was running around. Yeah, man, I'm gonna get him. Man, you feel, man? I was like, all right, bro, let's do that, bro. And after that, we got out of there. Ended up at Waffle House like 3 a.m. It was good, man. It was fun. Yeah. And I was like, yo, you trying to record? He was like, yo, let's do this.
Yeah, because that would have been in August, right?
Yeah, man.
So yeah, the season was coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just happened.
Wait, they want the real story?
Give the people the real story, man. They tired of waiting. Give them the story, man. Give them the story, Deke. Dang, man. For real this time. For real.
All right. Really?
Yeah, it's on for real.
So, man, I was working insurance a little bit. Actually, I liked it. I liked my boss and everything, but I wanted to just try to take those selling skills and start my own company, like marketing, social media, because I'd learned those skills previously before I got into insurance. I did a lot of experimenting with that type of stuff in podcasts. So I had a bunch of that knowledge, learned some selling skills, and was like, man, why don't I try to start my own company? So I quit insurance. I didn't have anything lined up. I was like, you know what? Because I still live with my parents, so I kind of have leverage from that standpoint. I had money saved up and everything. I was like, I'm going to quit. And literally like a week or two after, one of our good friends, I'm actually wearing the hoodie from No
Lag, Jared in the building,
hits me up and says, yo, I got Arthur Moats here. He's looking for someone to do some like media production for him. And what's funny is he hit me up, and I think you hit him up based off some of the videos that were on his Instagram. I didn't do any of those videos. Yeah. Right? So, yeah, he hit me up, and he actually hit up another dude with me. It was like a group chat, and the other dude couldn't make it for the meeting. I made it there, and we chop it up down at No Lack Shop, and just like we're going forth, like, yo, what are you looking for with this? You know, this is what I'm capable of. I could do this, and this. And it made sense on both parts. And then we were like, you want to record the next day and figure something out. And so I came over the next day, Thursday, and it was just starting off. You could even look back on your Instagram. It was literally just IGTV.
That was it.
Little segments. They were like 4 or 5 minutes long where you were just giving quick updates on NFL or Steelers news.
And at the time, there was the AAF was going on too. During that time frame.
You know, I was better with like audio and podcasts, but I mean, I was like, I I'm limited right now in terms of my video editing, but I can get there. Like, you just have to trust me. Like, I'm gonna keep improving. And so even the first, you really like the first one, and then looking back,
I mean, now where we're at now compared to then, you're like, whoa. But I mean, I just think as a whole, we've both evolved so much.
Because that's all it was. But I think in every step of the process to where we're at right now, it was always like, all right, we have this figured out. Like, we had the IGTV stuff figured out.
Right.
Like, all right, this is going well. What can we do next? I'm like, dude, you ever think about a podcast? And you initially were like, nah, I don't want to do podcasts.
You're absolutely right.
I was like, dude, I can make it really simple for you though. Yeah. You know, you could go off and start talking. I could just maybe be a producer in the background if you need someone to run your ideas
like
off
a second mic type thing.
But it would, you know, it'd be easy to do, like even the process of getting the audio up and everything. But then that evolved, like, let's start doing video with the podcast.
It's always, what can we do better? How can we make this better?
And then we started doing video, and we're like, let's put this joint to YouTube. And then we got that down, and it was like, let's do some film sessions. And we were doing the tailgate stuff. But like, that's the cool thing. It's just evolved ever since that first meeting.
Absolutely. And from my perspective, it was like this. I had just got back from Arizona. I was still rehabbing my knee. And from there, I already knew I wanted to retire even before I had like publicly announced it. And I was thinking about, man, all right, I know I want to do broadcasting, media broadcasting. I had some opportunities, but just not enough. I was like, man, when I hop into a new field, like I want to just do everything. And I wasn't getting those opportunities at that particular point, obviously because it was the off season. And I literally started out recording on my phone. I'm like, bro, this is like, I need help. You know what I mean? Like, I don't specialize in video and editing or audio and all this other stuff. So I reached out to my boy. I'm like, man, I see you recording stuff, man. Like, do you got a guy? Let me talk to him. And he shows me the guy that he was using at the time and was like, yo, this is the guy's work. I loved it. So
I see. I didn't even know this.
Yeah.
I thought he just randomly hit up two of us without even talking about it.
So he had a guy that he was already using. So that's what he was like, yo, come down to the shop and meet him. So I'm like, all right, let's do that then. And then on the day of, he tells me like, yo, the one dude can't make it, but I got the other guy here. You still gonna pull up? And at the time, I'm like, well, do you got any of his? I swear. So at the time, I'm like, you have any of his work? And he's like, no. So I'm like, well, you know what? Bump it. I'm gonna take a chance. Like, I promise you, I don't know what made me say I'm gonna take the chance. So I'm like, all right, let me just pull up. And I remember being mad when I was parking, like, bro, if I come down here and this is some nonsense, I'm gonna be so hot right now because transparency, right? About 2 weeks before this meeting happened, I had put on my social media, yo, I'm looking for somebody that can do audio and editing. If you are interested in working for my company, reach out to me. Obviously, if I put that on social media, you could just imagine the type of responses I got. So I was like, dang, like I feel like I was never going to find somebody without having to pay just crazy amounts because I didn't want to deal with some of the other people that were emailing me and things like that. But like I said, man, I remember pulling up and I'm thinking to myself like, yo, if this is one of those scenarios, I'm going to be so hot. And I remember we sat down, we had this conversation, and I think you might have showed me something on your phone, maybe while we were sitting down there.
Something I did in the past.
And from there, it was like, you know what? It can't hurt. Just pull up. Let's do this, man.
Yeah, what did I say? I was like, I'll do the first month free. You said you do the first month for free. And we'll figure it out.
And ultimately, that was a selling point because literally I probably had 3 finalists lined up, right? And one was a chick, one was a guy. The chick, I loved her work, but her turnaround was too long. She was saying that it would take probably 4 to 5 days. And obviously with football and sports, I'm like, this is time sensitive. I would need 48 hours, worst case scenario, but I prefer 24 hours. So if you can't give me that, that's not going to work. Then I had another guy who could give me 24 hours, but what he was charging, I'm like, I'm not paying that for this. I mean, for that, I might as well go call up one of these networks and go about our business that way. And then it was like, all right, well, this dude right here says he'll do the first month for free. And he was like, just trial and error. So I'm like, all right. I love incentive-based work because if you really trust your work, if you really believe in yourself, it's going to sell itself. And ultimately, if it's up to par like it should be, you're going to get the money. So literally that first month goes by. But man, them first couple episodes, I was like, bro, just seeing, number one, how it was a burden lift off me because I didn't have to worry about editing. So I could just worry about focusing on the mic and doing that thing. And then from there, it was like, yo, this quality is crazy. And it just kept getting better. And I remember, like I said, I was super anti-podcast because I felt like everybody and their mother has a podcast. And I'm like, bro, I'm not doing a podcast. Because it wasn't like you just brought it up once. It was like, yo, what about the podcast? I did a podcast. Man, I interviewed this guy, man. You ever thought about doing a podcast? I'm like, bro, I'm cool on podcasts. But sure enough, man, we was like, yo, let's try it. And we talked about basketball, movies,
that was what was going on.
It was so random.
It was in April and May when we started. So it was just like, this is what's going on. Let's figure it out.
Absolutely. And then from there, it was like, well, this is kind of fun. I liked it a lot more because it's not as choppy as like radio. So I was like, man, at least with this, we can really dive into it without having to be so segmented. Bam, right? This topic, that topic, that topic. So I really love that element of it. And then from there, man, it just kept growing. And now we have a full beast just, emerging. And
it's cool.
Yeah, man, it's been a great journey, though. And I mean, shoot, like I said, it's been fun with you, but even for everybody that's been along the journey, because we have people that have been there since the beginning of us, man. So, yeah, we definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's wild. I did not know that you were thinking about not doing the meeting.
I was because literally the day of, he hits me up and he's like, bro, my man can't be here, but I got this other guy. Are you interested? And I'm just like, well, shoot, I've already had it in my schedule. Like, I'm going to pull up. We're going to see what happens. And I definitely remember parking and like, bro, if this is nonsense, I'm going to be so mad. That's all I kept saying because I had to pay to park first off because, down on South Side, you got to pay to park. I'm like, bro, I'm paying to park. I don't even know if I'm going to get the guy I want. And I don't even know this dude's quiet because I haven't seen anything yet. Like, I don't even know this dude's legit. What? Like, yeah.
That's hilarious. Well, I've told you this part before, but I didn't include it in the initial part of my story. But whenever I quit the insurance, I specifically told my boss at the time, because I'm still cool. I'm actually going out to lunch with him this week. I told him, I was like, yeah, just don't tell anyone. I want to prove myself and do all this behind the sscenes and build something up of my own. Like, specifically told him, don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
He meets with Jared Nolak, like literally the next day or that week. I don't know when he met with him, but he let it spill to Jared.
Crazy.
That I quit. So he wasn't supposed to know.
Right.
But he only knew that I quit insurance because my boss told him, even though he wasn't supposed to. Which is like the wildest thing.
Yeah.
Jared was literally the only one who knew that I quit insurance.
And the time was perfect.
He wouldn't have hit me up if he knew I was still doing insurance.
Yeah.
That's the wildest thing.
It's crazy.
So like your part's crazy because like it didn't feel like it should have happened on your part, but like on mine, it was one of those things too. It's like, wow, that was lucky as hell.
Yeah,
that's why I told anyone that talks to me in person about it, I'm like, I got lucky, man,
bro.
But I guess it's one of those things.
You got lucky, and I'll be over here saying the same thing.
Yeah,
like, bro,
but like it's one of those things, like legit, because I'm into like the motivation stuff. I guess as much as I don't take myself seriously, I am into like, yo, if you got a shot, take it.
No,
you know
absolutely,
what I mean? Man. Like, no matter how nervous you are or how afraid, like just do it. Just try it. You're never gonna know unless you try.
Very true. And I remember once I started it, man, people telling me, bro, like, why are you trying to start your own thing? Go get on a network. Do that because it's safer. It's, the money's there. You don't have to worry about what you're going to be dishing on the front end and hoping that it could turn out. Then they tell you, whoa, man, you look at how many people start this and how many of them end within this many episodes. You look at how many people try to start small businesses and you even majored in that. So you even know more about these details. And I was still just like, bro, I just believe it, man. I believe it. Yeah. Kind of like you said, man, you just take your chance. And shoot, it's been money, man. It's been working. So we're going to keep this thing rolling.
I'm glad you brought that up because how many times have people commented that?
A lot,
I never wanted to do it a disservice. Like, I think people have DM'd me before and have asked me, and maybe I'll give them the short answer, like, yo, just like a mutual friend, link this up, whatever it is. But it's cool you brought that up because, like I said, I didn't want to just comment it just willy nilly. Yeah. But that's cool. We got to talk about that.
Absolutely, man.
There's parts of the story I didn't know.
Yeah, on both sides, man. So that was definitely good, man. But because like I said, that was the last one we were gonna do for that, and which, like I said, again, man, top notch by everybody that commented, man. And with some of these questions that do pertain going towards the Ravens week, we are going to address some of those following this thing. So if you have any other questions you want to get in that thing, answer for that next podcast, man, just throw it in the comment section, man. We'll make sure we get to it. But I guess final thoughts though on the game, man.
Final thoughts. Yeah. Good game, dude. We got the win. We're 6-0. Those are my final thoughts, man. Do you just want final thoughts, or are you thinking hot topic?
No, we're gonna get to hot topics. Okay. Yeah, this is the final thoughts is right here. I know you can't wait for the hot topics, boy. Lord have mercy. Final thoughts, hot topics, fan questions.
I'm disorganized. I'm good with it, dude. I feel good. We're the only 6-0 team in the league, so I'm not complaining at all. Yeah, I'm not at all. I've been listening. So I actually did do some listening last night. Didn't do any national media today on TV or anything like that. But like one or two of the podcasts I listened to, like, were really high on the Steelers from a national media standpoint. They're like, I have them in the top 4 echelon right now. I think they might be the most balanced team. So no reason to be complaining. We're looking good, man. Let's just keep these positive vibes rolling.
Absolutely. For me, man, I thought as a whole, great team win, great job getting to 6-0. You don't get to 6-0 by accident or by fluke or by not having competition. They've played legit teams and they found ways to win these games. They found ways to win pretty. They found ways to win ugly. At the end of the day, as long as the result is the same in terms of a W, that's the biggest thing. I thought at times offense looked great. I thought at times the defense looked great. And obviously the special teams at times looked great. As a whole, they're going to keep getting better. We talk about with Coach Tomlin-led teams, they typically don't start getting good until November, December. So this is all icing on the cake. This isn't even what we were banking on right here. For us to say, hey, man, Ben coming back after an injury, for us to say that, hey, Devin Bush is going to be out here by himself, no longer with a Mark Barron or a John Bostic, right? Even though he didn't play with Bostic, just saying like that's going to be the scenario. And then you're going to lose him at some part of the year early on. And we go down the list of the different scenarios of things we've had to overcome. To say we'll be 6-0 right now, I don't think anyone would have believed that. So for me, that's a huge thing. And I just think as a whole, man, this team is just getting better. They have a extremely deep team. We seen that again off the offensive line. Man, Chooks Okorafor, who goes down, who was the backup to Zach, who went down. Gerald Hawkins comes in and he produces at a big time level. Like I said, we can go down the list. Ray McLeod being the primary punt returner this week instead of Deontay Johnson. He almost takes one to the house. He's literally a cut right versus cutting left from scoring a touchdown. Like those are the type of things that we're seeing from a depth standpoint. And then we already said defensively, not only Robert Spillane and Ulysses Gilbert, Henry Mondu came in. He produced. He even was a big time blocker on as a fullback to score a touchdown. Yeah. Justin Lane had to step up because Mike Hilton being out. Cam Sutton had to take over Mike Hilton. So Cam Sutton produced. Justin Lane comes in because of Cam. Justin Lane produces. So just to see everyone stepping up. Oh, and then we had a different punter this week as well. We went back to the old school well of Jordan Berry, and he came in and he hopped on the moving train like nothing was wrong. So when we talk about the depth, when we talk about all these different individuals stepping up and rising to the occasion, to me, that speaks volumes about this team. And like I said, man, you're getting your star players playing like stars, and your depth players are coming in and still playing at a high level. That's a recipe for success. Play calling, every element of it, man, has looked good. So for me, man, I'm extremely happy about it. That's why I said 16-0 when we did our predictions. I ain't give you no 12-4 Jazz, no 13-3 nonsense. So I stand by it. I guarantee it. You know what I'm saying? It's like blue magic. So yeah, that's how I felt about that thing, man. So now it's time for your thing, hot topics, right?
I'm trying to think if I had anything to play off that though. You made a lot of good points there. I just didn't feel like we missed a beat. You're right, with all these interchangeable parts, man.
Yeah.
To be where we're at.
Good teams find ways to win regardless of injuries, regardless of turnovers, regardless of penalties. Good teams find ways to win. Now, the Titans, they're a good team. Trust me, that kick.
They'll be fine.
Yeah, they're going to be fine. Without a doubt. Tannehill, I thought he surprised me a little bit as well in terms of the second half and his performance. As a whole, the Titans are a good team, but that's what makes this so much more impressive for the Steelers to hold off a Titans team that has done this numerous times. They've come back from being down multiple scores and have won games in regulation and overtime. So for us to do that the way we did, man, like I said, that's impressive. But to do it through the injuries, to do it with the turnovers, and to do it with the penalties.
That's what I want to say.
That's a mark of a championship team right there. You have to be able to do that because let's be real. Ben's not throwing 3 picks in games. That's not happening multiple times. We're not going to come out here and have multiple injuries going into these games and still have injuries during these games. That's not happening. But the fact that you're able to overcome it while it does happen is very, very promising.
Yep, that's what I was going to say too. I mean, just for us to win the time of possession, all that, have the turnovers, their fluky touchdown with AJ Brown, just to score like that. It seemed like everything, if you're just going to call it equal, like I thought we were dominating. But then having those things go in their favor and for us to pull out the win, that's impressive, dude.
Absolutely,
it's
man.
Impressive. So hot topics, huh?
Give me the hot topic, man. Da-dun, da-dun, da-dun.
That was for breaking news.
This is Deke's hot topic. Dun, da, 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 da. Yeah, because I figure you're not going to consistently give me that. Well, you consistently give hot topics, so I'm not going to waste my anthem on something that you're not doing.
I think I only got 2. Well, we already talked about Spillane.
Yeah, but see, you always got a hot topic. Every week you give me a hot topic.
I think I got 2 aside from 2 or 3 aside from some of those questions. Maybe 1 or 2 of them were the questions that we had.
Hot topic, Deke.
I'm going to be really interested. Well, you mentioned him. Who's this Mondu guy, dude?
Yeah, Henry Mondu, man.
Well, here's the thing. So, does he have? Is it just that he came in for the Titans game?
The name
because that's kind of what I'm assuming. He came in for the Titans game specifically, try to stop the run with Henry. Because, dude, we were even outside of just him, we were running some crazy formations there. We had Bud at like middle linebacker, one of those plays.
No.
We had Wormley in there. I'm glad you brought that
up. I'm gonna talk about that too, man.
So I don't know. Is this Mondu? What did you see? Because I saw the good block on the sweep out to Snow for the touchdown, but then, man, on defense he had that. What was it, like a infraction or encroachment or something
offsides?
Like that?
Yeah.
And then I don't know. There wasn't anything that I was like, oh man, this guy's terrible. But there was nothing that really jumped out to me. So I didn't know if you had your eye on Mondu, if he could find a role in the offense, or just even not the offense.
Well, I mean, he did play on offense, though.
I guess so. But yeah, maybe 1 or 2 plays on offense as the fullback, but on the defense. And just what did you make of like some of those weird coverages that I was seeing and formations?
Yeah, so a couple of things. First off, with Henry Mondu, this is his first year in the league. He's from Oregon. That's the school he went to. And this was his first game active as well. But a couple of things. Number one, the biggest reason why he got a helmet, obviously, he played multiple things. So you see him at D tackle. He also played fullback, and he also played special teams, and talking about covering kickoffs. Like, you're not gonna see too many D tackles running down there on kickoff and things like that. That's different. But ultimately with Henry, man, it's more so just the versatility and just adds to the depth. I'm not sure who else was banged up on defense and things like that, but a lot of times you just make different moves based on that. If I can say, all right, we might need a linebacker this week, right? But if I have a guy that can play 3 different positions, I'm going to dress him and just play a little bit shorter in terms of my interior linebackers, because that linebacker can only play just that. Whereas this guy, like I said, can give you multiple avenues of impact in the game. And we saw him do that. Like I said, special teams, defense, and having a big time block on the goal line for us to score a touchdown. So that was the biggest reason why he got a helmet and why he was ultimately out there. If everybody's healthy on the roster, he probably doesn't see a helmet. That's the biggest reason why he hadn't been dressing. He's not a world beater, but in terms of just showing depth, it's a depth guy. And it's good to see him come in and be able to produce in the small sample size that he got. I mean, you got to start somewhere. So, hey, you take 3 plays or how many plays you get and you produce. That's what you hope for, man.
You look good on special teams? I didn't even pay attention to that.
Of course you don't. It's all good. But no, he did, man. He was fine on special teams, man. Like I said, I thought he ran really well. I was a little bit surprised to see. I mean, this dude is 280 and he's running out on kickoff. Typically, your kickoff guys are 230 and under. Usually a whole bunch of DBs and linebackers. Maybe a running back here that you throw a wide receiver out there, but typically it's skill position players. So to let you know that he's out there, that lets you know, all right, this dude is an athlete. He's good enough for that element of it, because they're not just throwing those guys out there. But like I said, overall, I thought he was fine in the game. I'm sure if we broke down every snap that he had, he's going to have some negatives. Sure. I mean, that's at this stage in his career, that's what he is. I don't know if he'll ever develop to something bigger than that. Not saying that he can't. I just don't personally see it right now. That's my biggest thing. But as a whole, I thought he was fine. And then in terms of what they were doing with Bud, TJ, we saw...
They had Wormley out there.
Yeah, Wormley did it. We also saw Oladeney do it. The thing is this. So
Highsmith was playing a decent amount.
So this was the thing. So it wasn't that they were using them as inside linebackers. What they were doing is this. When you play the Titans do a great job of dominating the line of scrimmage. They do a great job of winning up front. And what that ends up doing, it first off allows Derrick Henry to get the ball and go downhill without having to chop his feet, right? So it forces your defense to kind of play on its heels and react to the action. By putting Bud and those guys at that, it wasn't even inside linebacker. It looked like it was almost like a 4-4, and they were just using a 4-4 like high school defense. So you just take one guy and say, you're the designated blitzer. And that's what they did, because what it does is it dents the line of scrimmage, because he's getting a running start now, right? So by doing that, you pick a side. And I'm not sure, like, obviously you would have to go into the huddle for them to tell you the specifics of it. When I was here and we did it, we would typically do it more so in goal line situations, because that's when it was less likely to have any backfiring and stuff like that. Because from a coverage standpoint, you get kind of limited. With the Steelers, when they did it, they either played cover 3 or cover 1 behind it. You don't want telltale signs like that where a team can say, all right, well, every time this guy does this, it's either this coverage or that coverage, because then they can catch on to it. But the biggest thing is this. So when we would do it, we would say, all right, if you're the middle runner, right, or you're this pseudo just dynamite guy, right, because your job is to blow something up. You don't have a run gap. You don't have a responsibility. Your job is this. Whichever way he steps, if the running back steps right, you fly downhill to the right and hit the first thing you see. If he goes left, you fly down the field and hit the first thing you see going left. What it does is it makes that running back see his color flash right now, and it makes him have to cut back. It makes him have to stop his feet. How many times do we see Bud dent it where he would dent the line of scrimmage, and that guard, even though that guard is bigger than Bud, because Bud is having that speed and force to hit him, it either stalemates or makes that guard take a step back. And then from there, Derek getting the ball, Henry is like, man, there's already a guy right here. I got to cut off of that. That minimizes his impact. We talk about Derrick Henry. He's not the best going lateral. His game is downhill, one cut, not having to worry about it. So that's why they implemented that. It was a great job by Keith Butler and Mike Tomlin of doing that. Like I said, you typically see it during the goal line element of it. You typically would see it goal line when it's a fullback out there as well, because we would say like you're the sacrifice guy, because a lot of times in the goal line, people wouldn't use their small fullbacks because you don't employ them. You use a D tackle, and that's usually a 300-pound D lineman, kind of like Henry Mundu. So what you say is, all right, man, your job is to hit him. Run full speed and try to knock him out before he knocks you out. May the best man win. We're going to clean it up after you. We just want to get that running back to stop his feet. That was the whole thought process behind it. And it worked for the majority of the time. I thought they did a good job with that. And all the guys that rotated in that position in particular, I thought they did a good job of communicating and making sure there were no mental errors from that person's responsibility along with everyone else around him. Because anytime you start doing one-offs like that, it can become a little challenging, because you're essentially telling now Cam Hayward, who's typically a 3 technique, right? Now you saw him bumped out playing more traditional DN, lined up over a tight end. But then from there, okay, well now that means somebody else is going to be affected by that. And then obviously Terrell Edmonds, his role and reads are going to be different, because now you got an extra guy standing around you. So it's multiple people that are affected by it.
I saw him up a couple times too.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a lot of moving pieces with it. But the biggest thing is, like I said, it dents that line of scrimmage and makes the running back have to stop their feet, or at least see color and make them have to hesitate. And that's ultimately how you're able to minimize Derrick Henry the way they were able to do, man.
Well, dude, it goes back to your point. And I remember you bringing this up in the preview podcast, that Henry's main thing is straight line, just going back and forth.
He goes downhill, baby.
Yeah, as opposed to horizontally, that's where you could kind of, it's not his biggest strength.
Right,
we'll just say that. So it seems like those type of formations and that type of strategy plays into trying to just get him, going that way. Like almost like forcing him outside of the middle a little bit.
Yeah, you
right?
want to force Derrick Henry to run left and right, sideline to sideline. It's some running backs you don't want to do that. Remember Chris Johnson when he was in Tennessee? He was a guy you didn't want going sideline to sideline, because he had the speed and the ability to beat you on the edge. LaShawn McCoy earlier in his career, he had that ability to beat you outside, so you couldn't just say we're going to play that style of defense. And I thought the biggest thing, I thought it was a good wrinkle by the Steelers, because watching the Titans through their first 5 games, they hadn't seen a defense do that. Defenses have played well, but no, they never took outside linebacker and said, all right, this is what we're going to do. This is your job. Force the action. That's why I say, man, I thought it was really good by the coaching staff, Keith Butler and Mike Tomlin, in that regard, because it's very unorthodox and at times it can be risky. Yeah. But they knew from a Tennessee standpoint, man, when they're throwing the ball downfield, they're not doing it from a traditional drop back sense. It's going to be out of play action. So even if you get caught in play action, now it just turns to a blitz. And you already got it
right a couple times. Yeah,
absolutely. So that's kind of how you play off of it. And granted, the Steelers have the personnel to execute that. With some of the teams that are 4-3 base, you don't really have those bigger bodied outside linebacker athlete types. A 4-3 outside linebacker is drastically different than what Bud and TJ are. And then a 4-3 DN isn't going to be able to stand up and move the way that Bud and TJ can. So that kind of played into it as well. But ultimately, I thought it was just a great job by the coaching staff and by the players executing it, man.
No, for sure. I'm not going to say hot topic for this one, because I just want to give shout out here. Terrell Edmonds, man, we bring him up how many times on this podcast? Dude, he had, I don't know, 2 or 3 pass deflections.
Absolutely. One
he had the tackle for loss.
Yeah, he had the 1 PBU in the end zone. He had 1 tackle for loss and then PBU. The next play, I was like, man, he was cooking. I thought he flew around. And like you said, we've been talking about this, man. We've been saying that he's been looking good, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And once again, we've been saying that he hasn't just solely been playing in the box. He's been playing in the middle of the field as well. We saw that a lot last week, even when we highlighted the Minkah Fitzpatrick pick 6. Edmonds was in the middle of the field on that. Edmonds has been playing really well this year. His tackling has looked really good, and that was never a case or never an issue with him. But his ball skills, man, that play he made in the end zone,
that's what everyone complains about.
No ball skills. That was perfect in terms of, number 1, knowing his assignment. But number 2, the thing that I absolutely loved And this goes unnoticed a lot of times unless you're looking for it. When he turned around out of that and knew that the guy was in the back of the end zone, 9 times out of 10, DBs turn around and look. They say, man, has that guy thrown the ball? And we always say this, man, if your guy is open, don't look back. He for certain is throwing you the ball. We talked about, man, we said even week 1, Joe Hayden, right? Joe Hayden's been an all-pro Pro Bowler. What did he do? He looked back and we're like, Joe, that guy is open. They're throwing him the ball. We can go week by week and we could point to numerous times where a guy is open. The DB looks back as if, oh, he's not going to see him. No, they're going to see him. Edmonds never looks back. As soon as Edmonds sees, okay, it's play action, he steps up hard. From then on, he's beelining right to where the receiver is going to be. Not where he's at, where he's going to be. Because if you go where he's at, by the time you get there, he's already gone. He goes right to where he's going to be. And then from there, great job playing through the hands. Doesn't get antsy and hit the guy early. No fouls on the play. Just good football, good fundamental ball. Not even the PBU this week. Going back to last week, he had a big time stop on 3rd down. It was a play action pass. We ended up blitzing. I think Mike Hilton off the left side. He has to stop near our sideline, right? It was nothing crazy that he did. It was fundamental, though, in terms of footwork. He never crosses over, never takes a step he doesn't need to. Eyes are in the right place on his coverage. And then from there, keeping his leverage, ball there, make the play. Those are the things that I'm loving about Edmonds. I don't need you to create the crazy splash plays. Those will happen. If you go trying to force splash, you're ultimately going to more than likely hurt the defense. You got to allow it to come to you. But the way it comes to you is by you doing all of the fundamental things right. And that's ultimately what Edmonds has been doing this year, man. He's been super fundamental, man. Eyes, technique, footwork, you name it, man. He's just been really good in that regard. And like I said, it's glad to see it start to show up in terms of bigger plays and people around the NFL noticing it, man.
No one's talking about him blowing coverages right now.
Nope. But you know what happened, man. The first time he has a mistake, oh man, Edmonds terrible, man. You need to fire that dude.
I don't know. He's built some up, I think.
Man, trust me, man. People still hate on him, man. People still hate on him. Like I said, I can't roll with it, man, because I've even showed you tape. I'm like, bro, look at this, right? Edmonds looks good right here. This is a top-notch play right here, man.
I got another shout out. I don't know if you want to get in depth with it, but also man. Vince Williams, dude, another underrated Steeler. Man. I don't know how many do you have double-digit tackles? I
think he had 10 tackles, a couple tackle for loss, had a sack as well.
Fumble, they ended up recovering.
Yeah, they recovered. That big hit on Tannehill. Absolutely, man.
Good for him. But and then in terms of my final topic, though, this has been, you know what it's going to be. This has been a topic of conversation the last few podcasts. And I've been going a lot of different directions with this. But I told you I'm staying pat with who the receiver 1 is from my perspective. Fair enough. But here's the thing. I like hearing what I want to hear, basically, especially for the broadcast. And it was brought up in this one. So I just want to get your perspective because I was eating it up. I'm sure a lot of other people were eating it up. But you heard the broadcast saying, oh, man, they got all the attention on Claypool here. It's opening things up for Deontay and Juju. Claypool is the receiver 1. They got Butler on him. And we actually talked about this a little bit off the mic. So, I mean, your perspective was funny. I still feel how I feel, but, I mean, Juju and Deontay had great games.
No, they definitely did, man. They definitely did. I thought that it kind of reiterated what I was saying in terms of them not really having a number 1 receiver. I asked you this question off the mic. I asked to you on mic. In terms of cornerback hierarchy, where does Malcolm Butler rate for you?
Not on my radar anymore. I mean, off reputation, you'd say, yeah, he's pretty good.
But when we talk about really like watching him,
I have no clue how he's doing.
He doesn't scare you. You don't think of Malcolm Butler like that, right?
Not anymore. I mean, if he was on the Patriots for whatever reason, maybe he'd have some mystique that Belichick knows how to use him better or something like that. But no.
But that's ultimately how I felt as well. So I understood where the broadcasts were trying to feed us this Malcolm Butler's shadowing him, and ultimately that's why, the other guys are coming open. From my perspective, I didn't see it. Now, I will say this. I watched the game twice. I'm waiting on the all 22 to come out because then I'll be able to say it with a lot more detail in terms of what was going on in particular with them. But in terms of where they were talking about where they're shifting the coverage to his side, from my perspective, that wasn't accurate just because when you're lined up to the strong side of the formation, right, when we're talking about having 3 receivers or 2 receivers, right, Claypool typically lines up to the strong side. Usually have Deontay to the backs or even James Washington by himself over there. So just based off of that alone, defensively, your coverage goes to the strength of the passing formation. It not necessarily this player. Now, sometimes you can specialize it or one-off it and say, well, look, if you're playing Odell, you're playing AB, you're like, hey, man, wherever he's at, we're going to make sure that either we're playing some type of double coverage to him or we're going to make sure that all our coverage is swung to his side. Like if we're talking cover 6, right? the cover 4 side will be towards that player. That wasn't the case because we saw where Claypool will be lined up to the 3-by-1 side, and we saw him on the backside of some formations as well. And they weren't playing a one-off or bastardized coverage in terms of saying, well, look, even though we're supposed to swing the coverage this way, we're going to swing it over here to this guy. I wasn't seeing that personally. Now, I did see Malcolm Butler follow him, but he didn't shadow him exclusively either. We said that it was times where Malcolm Butler was on Deontay. It was times where he was on Juju and James Washington as well. Like I said, I'm going to look into it a little bit more to see why there wasn't the same level of productivity in the past. I do know from a target standpoint, I mean, when you look at Deontay Johnson, 15 targets, Juju Smith-Schuster, 14 targets, that doesn't leave you a lot of targets elsewhere. And you still got to factor in Ebron and everybody else that were getting passes thrown to them. That plays into it as well. But I know, like I said, from a broadcast standpoint, just from being on that side, I know certain things that they want to be said because of a narrative, because of a storyline, but I personally was not seeing that. That's the only thing.
The stats would back it up in a way. If you want, I mean, if you wanted to look at the stats, the targets and everything, and say, hey, this is what I'm hearing. What did I say? Whenever you brought, I was laughing about this. It was kind of tongue in cheek. I said, well, if Butler's on him the whole time, that just goes to show you how much more wide open the other receivers are for our team. So Ben just had his choice. Like, all right, Claypool's open on Butler. Maybe I could get it to him. But Juju and Deontay, they're even more open. So it's going to be their day. That's kind of... It was a joke, dude. But
yeah, because I was going to say, you say that, but then you were just up here talking about, well, I didn't mind him throwing that ball with multiple guys on this guy.
Oh, yeah, I don't care about that.
Yeah,
dude.
so then technically it wasn't like it was a favorable matchup. I can say they were always single covered, but that wasn't the case. We talked about how Juju, it was one time we had 3 guys on him, and then one time where Deontay had the safety over top plus the corner on him. So that's how I looked at it. But that's why I was like, until I'm not going to double down and say that was it 1,000% because I haven't had a chance to watch the full, like I said, coaches tape. Once that drops, then we'll be able to know a lot more. But yeah, either way, man, I don't think it's a knock on Claypool. I don't think it's a knock on any of the guys. Like I said, you don't have to have a number 1 receiver. And I think that's what makes them so dangerous right now. That ability to just, it's kind of like when you talk about, I don't even want to go there. We'll leave it alone. But ultimately, man, I don't think you have to have one guy spearheading the group because right now we're seeing each week it's been a different guy with leading.
Everyone's stepping up.
It's a different guy leading with targets. It's a different guy leading with yardage. I will say this. Throughout the season, as it stands today, Deontay Johnson's targets is not close. He's been the most targeted guy. So by that alone, you could go, is Deontay.
Do I go back to Deontay then?
You told me you're not flipping though. But all I know is his first game back, that man had 15 targets and he still has some issues.
It drops. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. So it's like,
I wanted to bring that up on my Ben spiel because he slipped on the one. He had another drop or two. Yeah. But no, I'm not trying to like rip on anyone for that type of stuff. But that would have been in terms of me defending Ben's game, but it is what it is.
We know you'll put down a Steeler for Ben. We got you. You just said it. You said that you were going to get on Deontay to defend Ben.
Let me put it this way. I was just going to say these things happen.
I mean, you've already done it.
That's not putting anyone down. We had people
comment on you before where you were downing our receivers to big up. No, you definitely did.
I'm not downing anyone.
You did that time. That's all I'm saying, man.
When? In the past?
Yes.
I don't remember.
Yes. We know you don't remember. We know. It's okay, man.
No way. It would only be right if I switched to Juju now, though, right?
No, because Deontay still had more targets. They had the same amount of catches. Only Juju had 5 more yards. Deontay had 2 touchdowns, though.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a different wide receiver 1 every week for me.
Nah, man. Deontay's your guy or Claypool. But yeah, Claypool, the one target he had was on the little, like,
there was a pass interference.
He had 2. Yeah, so he had the one that was the OPI on Jalen Samuels, which was a good call. You have to run a route. He didn't run a route. And honestly, I'm glad you brought that up, too, because that was the difference on that call being an OPI and why the Minkah Fitzpatrick one was called a holding on him, right, instead of OPI, because
I thought they were both good calls.
No. So this is the thing. So the OPI on Minkah, the difference is this, and I don't know if Tannehill did it intentionally or not. Tannehill threw it to the guy that picked Minkah. If you remember that, they ran a pick wheel concept so that it was a 2x2. The one guy literally just runs directly at Minkah and stops. And then the guy that Minkah is on rolls around, and that's why Minkah has to grab him because he's like, I just can't get through the pick like that. Yeah. The pick itself was illegal because you have to run a route. But what he did was this. Once Minkah ran through, Tannehill threw the ball at the guy. The guy wasn't even expecting the ball. He still threw it there, so it made the illusion of, oh, no, that was a route. Whereas with Jalen never turned around for a ball. Jalen never ran a route. He simply just ran towards the defender and picked him. You can't pick as a receiver. That's
You're saying Jalen. You're talking about the Claypool one,
right? That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Claypool's pass interference, like the deep ball.
Oh, no.
I was confused whenever you were saying.
Yeah, they were just hand fighting right there. Yeah, okay. They were hand fighting right there. And with the hand fighting, man, that's gonna be 50-50. Some guys are calling on offense, some guys are calling the defense.
Okay, yeah, I'm actually really interested in this because all right, so you said
so
the Minka one was that a good call, bad call?
So the reason why both of the calls were good because of how the outcomes played out, but the difference was the details of how Jalen Samuels did his pick versus how the guy from the Titans did his pick. When the guy from the Titans did his pick, like I said, he literally came off the line and just went and blocked Minka. The difference was once Minka held the guy and ran off, Tannehill just throws it to the guy that set the pick. So it made it look like
optical illusion.
So it makes it look like what? Oh, that was a route. Even though when you watch him on tape, he's not running a route. He literally takes one step, two hands, hits Minka. And that's why Minka's like, yo, I gotta grab this guy because I'm not gonna get through. And that's why I said I don't know if Tannehill did it intentionally or not.
So if he didn't throw the ball that way,
there, they might call the illegal pick or OPI. Wow. But because he throws it directly to him,
I'm not liking this.
It turns out like that. Then you look at Jalen Samuels. I think it was 3rd and 5. The one where literally
3rd and 2.
Yeah, well, Claypool catches it. I think they said he was short, but
it was a first down.
But the thing was, the difference was when Jalen came off, he literally went and just ran towards the DB, but he never runs a route after. He never turns around, puts his hand up for the ball. He literally just hits the guy and just stays with it. And then from there, Claypool gets it and goes. So if you're just blocking like how Jalen made it look, that is OPI. If Jalen turns around, throws a hand up, if Jalen, after he hits the guy, just turns in or turns out to make it look like it's a route, they don't call it.
It didn't look like he put his hands up or anything to block. It looked like he just kind of went into him.
But see, so from an offensive standpoint, that's where they're supposed to make it look like that, right? Don't put your hands up and make it like you're physically run blocking them because that's obvious. Anybody can see that. But
what happened to the 5-yard bump rules, right? Was that just defense to offense?
No, so the thing is this. It's the difference between you bumping and you actually blocking. 5-yard bump as a DB, you can jam, but how many times have you seen a DB ever two-hand grab a receiver? You can't do that. You can't even two-hand put your hands in his chest and hold him like that. You can shock him, which is a punch, right? You can jam him, but you can't just sit here and let me just hold you. Like that's not happening. And with Jalen, what they tell you to do is, okay, look, we want this route ran at 4 yards for a reason because we know with Claypool stepping at 2, this guy is going to be on the opposite end of that and he's not going to be able to get around you. So make it look like you're running a route, take 2 to 3 steps, but make sure you stop right here and get in this guy's way. You better get some of him, bump him, do whatever you have to do to him. When you do that, though, you still have to make it look like you're running a route. You still got to make it look like, oh, man, I tripped. Or, oh, man, I was trying to get open and give you that at the end. Jalen never gave you any embellishment on it. He just literally ran right to the dude, hit him. And then because the pass happening right now, it's just like, oh, bro, that's clear. That's a block right there. You can't do that. And that's why they call that, man.
That was a disappointment.
Yeah,
I didn't like that.
Just a little detail. It's all about the details of your work in that regard, man. Kind of like if you're a pass rusher and you feel like you're about to fall down, hey, man, sell it out like you got hell. Throw your arms up, flail, kick your legs out because, man, the referees, they're human. They see and they're like, well, man, that dude did all. He had to get hell. No different when we see wide receivers, right? Oh, it's a little bit of hand fighting both ways. The receiver, what does the receiver do though? Oh, man, I got hell, man. Throw the flag. After every time the ball goes to a receiver, they looking around for a flag. Like, no, bro, that was good defense.
I know I would be doing that every time if I was a receiver.
All right, so that's why it's just the gamesmanship. It goes back and forth, man. That's why we call receivers or offensive players babies because it's like, y'all always looking for calls. Y'all always want a handout. Whereas on defense, we got to deal with that and still find a way to stop you guys. It's the truth.
I think I'm good on hot topics and everything, dude.
Sure, that's it.
I'm done.
So I can drop the outro?
Huh? Yeah, if you want. Right. Go for it, man.
Da-dun, da-dun.
Oh, the outro for the hot topic segment.
Bro, is you really going to just talk over my outro?
I thought it was cool. My bad.
Don't talk over the outro.
My bad.
Da-dun, 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 da-dun.
Little remix.
Da-dun, da-dun, dun, 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 dun. All right, I'm good now.
You polished that up.
I did. I gave you a little bit, bro. It's 6-0, bro. I had to give a little energy, bro.
You must have been working on that.
I was practicing like give my shimmy. But now we can do the outro for the podcast because I know you can't wait to give me that one, man.
I'm good. Yeah. What, you want me to start this one?
You sure?
We appreciate everyone.
Well, no, man, because you've been starting everything today. Can I do something today, please? Dang, go on, bro. I never get a chance to talk, bro.
Gun, man. I'm sorry.
Jeez, man, you get a little beard, 6-0, and I ain't like, I don't know nobody, bro. Golly. Just remember me when you get to the top, please. Dang, go on, man.
I know.
You sure?
I've been wanting to give them my hot takes today. I'm sorry.
I know, bro.
I've been jumping the gun.
It's all good. You got anything else?
I'm good.
All right. Well, appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. As always, that was a blast, man. Thanks for all the subscribers. And until until next time, man.
Peace.